I'm going to tell you something I haven't told anyone except the police. And even they didn't fully believe me. It was supposed to be spring break. Sun, sand, cheap beer, and bad decisions. But the worst decision I made wasn't about the tequila. It was going into the basement. This is what happened to me. Bright, warm tone gradually darkens. My name is Caleb. Last April, 3 friends and I rented a beach house on the Outer Banks. Spring break, senior year of college. The last real trip before graduation. The house was suspiciously cheap. 4 bedrooms, a hot tub, ocean view, for half the price of anything else on the strip. The listing said the basement was off limits to guests. I remember reading that and laughing. I assumed it was just storage. Maybe a creepy old furnace. We arrived on a Sunday. The sun was blazing. The house looked fine. A little weathered, but fine. The only weird thing I noticed? The front door had 3 deadbolts, facing inward, like someone wanted to keep something out. I didn't think about that until later. The first night was normal. We grilled burgers, drank cheap rum, sat in the hot tub until 2 a.m. But when I went to bed, I was sleeping on the first floor, near the kitchen. I heard something, scratching, coming from under the floorboards. It wasn't mice. I've heard mice. This was slower, more deliberate, like fingernails dragging across concrete. I put my ear to the floor. The scratching stopped. Then something tapped back. Once. I told myself it was the house settling. Old pipes. Whatever. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I got a text from the landlord. A man named Harold. I'd never met him in person, just a voice on the phone when I booked the place. His message said he hoped we were enjoying the house. And then he reminded me that the basement door was locked for a reason. He told me not to try to open it. I showed the text to my friend Jess. She laughed and made a joke about him hiding bodies. I tried to laugh too, but something felt wrong. That night, the scratching was louder. And this time, it wasn't coming from under the floor. It was coming from inside the walls. Tuesday morning, my friends went parasailing. I stayed behind. I told them I had a headache. The truth was I couldn't stop thinking about that basement. I walked around the house by myself, looking for anything unusual. The basement door was in the kitchen pantry. Solid wood, a heavy padlock on the outside, but the key wasn't in the lock. It was on the kitchen counter. I swear it wasn't there the night before. No note, no explanation, just an old brass key, tarnished, cold to the touch. I stood there for 5 minutes, holding it. Then I put it in the lock. Before I go further, looking back, I should have called the police. I should have taken my friends and left. Don't do what I did. If you find a locked room in a rental, you report it. You don't go in alone. But I was 22, curious, and stupid. The stairs were concrete, cold. The air smelled like wet soil and rust. Not mildew, soil. At the bottom, a narrow hallway. Bare bulbs hung from the ceiling, but they didn't work. I used my phone as a light. The walls were covered in drawings. Children's drawings. Crayon. Stick figures. But the figures all had something wrong with them. Missing eyes. No mouths. One drawing showed a house with a door that had teeth. And every single drawing had the same words scribbled at the bottom. He comes when it rains. The hallway ended at a door. Metal. Rusted. Unlocked. I pushed it open. The room was small. Maybe 8 feet by 8 feet. Concrete floor. No windows. In the corner, I saw a mattress. No sheets. Stained. Bolted to the wall above it, a broken chain. Rusted links. One end still had a cuff. Open. Empty. On the floor next to the mattress, I found an old digital voice recorder. The kind from 2010. Dusty, but the battery light was still blinking red. I picked it up. I pressed play. The recording lasted 47 seconds. I've replayed it 100 times since. I can still hear it when I close my eyes. A girl's voice said her name was Emily. She said she didn't know how long she'd been there. She said someone brought her food every 3 days, and she had 1 day left before he came back. Then she said there was a door behind the water heater that led outside. He didn't know she'd found it, but she was too weak to run. She begged whoever found the recording to tell her mom she was sorry. The recording was dated 5 years ago. Emily was gone. The chain was broken. The cuff was open, but the red light on the recorder was still blinking. That meant someone had been charging it recently. Someone else had been in that room after Emily left, and they were expecting her to come back. Then I heard it, a floorboard creaking, right above me, in the kitchen. My friends weren't supposed to be back for hours. I turned off my phone light. Complete darkness. The footsteps were slow, heavy, not my friends. I knew that immediately. The footsteps made the ceiling dust fall on my face. Then they stopped, right above the basement door. I heard the lock turn. Someone was inside the house, and they had just locked the only exit. I pressed myself against the wall. The room had nowhere to hide, except behind the metal door. I slipped behind it. I held my breath. The person didn't speak. They just walked down the stairs, one step at a time. A flashlight beam cut through the dark. It swept across the mattress, the chain, the voice recorder where I'd left it. Then I heard a voice. Male. Calm. Not angry. Almost disappointed. He said I wasn't supposed to be there. Then he said that since I was, I'd have to stay. I heard him sit down on the mattress. The springs creaked under his weight. He wasn't leaving. He was waiting for me to move, to breathe, to make a sound. Then my pocket buzzed. The flashlight snapped toward me. I didn't think. I grabbed the only thing in reach, a loose chunk of concrete from the floor, and I threw it toward the light. I didn't wait to see if I hit him. I ran up the stairs. The door was locked from the outside, but the lock was old. I hit with my shoulder once, twice. The third time it broke open. I stumbled into the kitchen. My phone was ringing. I saw Jess's name on the screen. I answered, but I don't remember what I said. I just remember looking behind me. The basement door was still open. Darkness. I didn't see anyone come up. I unlocked the front door. My friends walked in. They were laughing, sunburned, holding milkshakes. I grabbed my keys and told them we were leaving. Now, they didn't argue. I must have looked terrified. We drove for 20 minutes before I told them what I found. One of them wanted to go back. Another wanted to call the cops. Jess just stared out the window. We called the police from a gas station. They sent a car to the house. The officer called me back an hour later. He said the basement door was open. The room was empty. No mattress. No chain. No recorder. He said they found children's drawings on the walls. That was it. And a landlord? Harold? The phone number was disconnected. The listing was fake. The address belonged to a house that had been foreclosed on 7 years earlier. No one knew who we'd rented from. That was 6 weeks ago. I thought it was over. I thought the police would figure it out. I thought Emily's family would get answers. But last night I woke up at 3 a.m. My bedroom window was open. I never opened my window. And on my nightstand, right next to my phone, was a brass key. Old, tarnished, cold to the touch. I never took that key from the beach house. I'm moving tomorrow. New city, no forwarding address. But I keep thinking about what the man said. Down in that dark room. He said I wasn't supposed to be there. But since I was, I'd have to stay. I don't think keys work that way. I don't think he needs one anymore. This story is fictional. All characters and events are imaginary. If you find a locked room in a rental property, leave immediately and call local authorities. Subscribe and follow for more true horror stories.